About Maruti Suzuki, very strong Q1 numbers. Expectations were muted. The company's profit, though, was aided by other income. Revenue growth was muted, but again, higher than expectations. Parikshit spoke to Rahul Bharti, who is the Senior Executive Director at Maruti Suzuki, and began by asking him about the drop in demand.
Retail domestic sales declined by 3.7% and industry as a whole declined by 1.3%. A large part of it is because of small cars. And, just to give you some statistics, in the financial year 17-18, we had 2.8 million small car sales with below 10 lakh rupees. Above 10 lakh rupees, we had 460,000 sales. Now that 2.8 million over 7 years has come down to about 2.3 million, which should have been a huge growth, but it is down 19% over 7 years. Cars priced above 1 million rupees rose from 4.6 lakh sales in that year to about 20.6 lakhs, which is a 4 times jump. It's a healthy growth and we are happy with it and we want to supply to that segment also. But we are concerned about that 28 lakhs, which was something like more than 80% of the segment that time, which is actually degrowing. So this is a cause of concern, and this is what is dragging down the overall sales of the industry in the negative zone.
Could you give us a sense of how the raw material costs are putting pressure on margins? Any improvement in the situation?
Not really. It appears that the steel industry is taking undue benefit of the safeguard duty, which was not applicable for some grades, but there is some pressure from steel, which we think is not warranted. There are other commodities also. In Q1, copper and aluminium also showed some upward pressure. We hope that the commodities continue to be soft so that the customer is not impacted.
Right. When it comes to the rare earth magnet crisis, how badly is Maruti Suzuki getting impacted as a result? What are some of the alternatives that you're working around? And what's going to be the production impact in Q2?
So far we have been able to, insulate ourselves from any kind of impact. Of course, the effort is on. It's work in progress. We are making alternate efforts. Mostly these efforts are in the nature of not importing the rare earth magnet itself, but importing a larger aggregate or a sub-assembly from abroad, maybe China, maybe some other country. But it does come with some amount of costs associated. If and when we have any problem in our production, we'll of course come back to you and announce through the stock exchanges.
Right. Just to ask you about deliberations with regard to CAFE norms. There are deliberations going on in SIAM, and Maruti Suzuki also has a view, which we have been reading about, that CAFE norms need to be revised in favor of smaller cars, considering there is a lot of costing pressure on small cars at the moment. Could you give us a sense of where these talks are and what is Maruti's rationale when it comes to revision of these CAFE norms, and why is it important for the industry right now?
Right. So the deliberations which are in SIAM, I think it's not appropriate for me to comment on that because SIAM is the best spokesperson. But since you asked the rationale, I can certainly explain. The CAFE follows a sloping line. It follows a differential methodology, which means lighter cars are given more stringent targets and bigger cars are given easier targets. Now what happens is at very low weights or at, if you extrapolate the line backwards, which means at the lower weight zone of cars, it becomes technically impossible to achieve those low targets. And as a result, cars which have low absolute CO2 have to be either discontinued or have to be sacrificed to meet a regulation which counterintuitively was supposed to lower CO2. So we are sacrificing models of low CO2, low absolute CO2 to meet a regulation whose objective is to reduce CO2. So, and generally this anomaly is not a new thing. The whole world knows about it, and almost the entire world has some regulatory correction at the lower end of the curve. They have some kind of protection for small cars because it's a technical anomaly, and that is what we have mentioned. Fortunately, people understand this phenomena, and we hope that this would be addressed soon.
Okay, all right. That's the word coming in from Maruti Suzuki. With that, we'll slip into a break. When we return, we'll discuss market technicals with Mitesh Thakkar, also discuss the top trading bets.